Good evening and welcome everyone for another World Cup game. This is round 4. We're going to see United States Unicorn player going against a French Crab player. I'll go quickly through the deck list while the players start, if I can get them. So on one side we have Unicorn on Phoenix Splash, playing Keeper of Water. Restricted card is charged, the Splash is free display of power. On the Dynasty side we have Free Trailblazer, Free Young Warrior, Free Dayu, and the rest is pretty traditional. On the conflict side, we have only one. We have one talisman, a free sneak, one assassination, the free censure, so favor is gonna matter. Yeah, display helps for the censure, obviously, and there it is, free captive audience also. On the other side, we have a crab player playing the traditional crab unicorn deck on Keeper of Water. There isn't much intriguing things there. Free Crisis Breaker, and that's pretty much everything here. And on the conflict side, we have one Jet Tetsubo, which is pretty traditional, but sometimes we see two. We have the Assassination Wave to Crab combo, one Spreading the Darkness, two Defend Your Honor, no Censure, two Mountain, and one Cheeky Gaze in customs. So we have Unicorn playing first. He played Moto Youth and with the Fate and passed, where Crab played a Crisis Breaker and put a Katana on it, then a Spyglass. So we're gonna see Crab defend that conflict, I guess. There is a Chagatai in the Unicorn row, which means potentially charge. And we see Goblin Sneak, stealing the last Fate from Crab. So no Phyton, potentially. No second Spyglass. A Unicorn has a Keeper, so that's good if he can get the Water Ring, but I don't think that's his priority here. I might have an Ambusher in hand to trigger Moritory if needed, depending on which provinces he finds. That would be good. Going F. Yeah, Mountain would also do. So. Yeah, Crisis is good against Unishoot. I think that's the main reason why we're seeing it a bit more than in the past. There has been a period where the character was abandoned, but now we see it back, and I think Uni is the main reason for that. So find the Forge, which get a reprieve for the Crisis Breaker. Well, that's not too bad. So that one is definitely going to stick for quite a time. It's definitely a very good tower target anyway against Unicorn. Like you can pile whatever you want on this. Fine Cannon on the Goblin, so it's matching the strength. Potentially winning, not breaking. Are we going to see charge here? Charge would likely be defended with Defend Your Honor if Crab player has it. So Banzai on Unicorn side, so he's going to try to break that. If Crab wants to have the ability to defend your honor afterwards, he needs to play it now, because if he doesn't, then couldn't play another one afterwards. Yep, there it is. Defend your honor. Maybe Dunzo. Probably if you want to trigger HMT. That would be necessary. He might also have a charge and being baiting the charge here. Baiting the cancel, sorry, to be able to use the charge. So the yacht going. Okay, that's interesting. Finally passes. Okay. Spit. Spoils of War. Okay, so crab's gonna be done on cards. 6 to 9. So Forge is a bit a weird province for crab to defend here. The problem is if you let the bonsai fire, then unicorn could be tempted to charge Shagai, and then you have to deal with again. You have to deal with its next conflict and potentially third conflict. Fight and discard at random. That's huge. So no conflict for crab. So now unicorn has to do a political conflict, or the crisis breaker is going to participate in the next conflict, which is not ideal for unicorn. I think you might be happy passing. Okay, he decides to go for the political one. Well, allows him to scoot. It's not bad. He knows no Phaeton can be played even if Crab has a second one. He needs to avoid the Manicured Garden now. Which ring do you pick here if you attack? Yeah, water probably, but then you can't go on the garden, right? Because if you do and Crab has a second Phaeton, you're in trouble. Finds a shameful, that's good. It's definitely good for Unicorn here, but I think you can't really break that, right? So you're gonna get Keeper and Favor, likely. Cloud on the Crisis Breaker. Okay, so that's calling the captive audience. That conflict's gonna get a military, and he's going to boost his Wayfinder so he can break. Then probably trigger the stronghold and get a third conflict out of it. That's a really good move. Because the Cloud forbids the Crisis Breaker to move in and defend. Yeah, there is an ambusher, so no shameful display. And after that, it's gonna get swapped to a military conflict, and it will break. It will sack the ambusher. Yep, there it is. And I guess you stand the Motor Youth after that for your third military conflict. And another spoiler for, okay, that's the second one. That's rough. Oh yeah, stand the goblin sneak apologies because there is a katana on it. Makes sense. That's more military strength than the youth. And here Crab is pretty unhappy having played this Crisis Breaker now because he's technically a blank character. He might want to get a Maya Mystic. That would be huge on next turn if he can. So Unicorn is trying to get the break on the Forge here, which is probably going to work. Yep. See immediate pass from Crab here. He really has nothing available to counter that. So that's 2 break turn, 1 for Unicorn. No charge used. Favor for Unicorn. That's huge. And he has quite a board. Keeps the Shaggy for the charge threat. That's totally irrelevant. Yeah, there was a Maya Mystic from Crab, for Crab, so that's good. Unicorn still has a Shugen Jar though, so should be careful with that. Could be another cloud. And I think as Crab, then well, there is no holding, so that kind of sucks. If he has a charge, he can still charge to 3-chi, but that's not really good. Like, it's not awesome. No, Unicorn does not want to farm. Like, Unicorn just want to brag that. There was a garden. I think he didn't want it Crab to get a fate just in case he would have another fight on in hand. Yeah, that looks like a board to try to get the break here. Yeah, exactly. Then, so if you're happy, it's a better situation than the face up. But if you're not, then that could be very, very bad. Yeah, Shadow. That's what I've been saying. It's like if he hits Garden, then Crab can fight on if he has another one. So it's too dangerous. Like the probability he has another one were not huge, but they were still non-negligible. I guess we will see no conflict in attack from Crab for quite a time anyway. I could have used the Maya Mystic though, like just poking with Maya Mystic. But it's risk. Yeah, it removes the cloud immediately. Um, Not sure about that honestly. Yeah, I think you could have poked the unicorn. Oh, No, I think it's a holding authority. Yeah. It is a holding authority. I'm sorry I'm a bit slow to react. I'm dead from a work day. So unicorn going air here for the fate. Kinda disagree with that. Like void is probably as significant. Void European doesn't want to take void though, so that's good because you force him to take a useless ring for the one fate or to take a useful ring without the fate. So yeah, actually air is fine. It's gonna go on the garden here. Skill 10, so that's going to be Crab will have to defend that. You don't have the right not to defend here. Yeah, agreed. Sadly, that might not last very long. Well, if Crab can stand this turn, then his position might not be too bad. Problem is, I'm not sure he can stand this turn. We see the Jade Tetsubo, I guess that's not a good one with the Mystic on the table. Like, Unicorn just uses the Maya Mystic here, right? I just joined too late, usually. Like, I mean, that's Unicorn. After turn 3, there is nothing to see anymore. One way or another, by the way. Okay, we see a curved blade instead. Yeah, exactly, Denzel. Not sure I like that. Um, if you're not going to use the Mystic, then and if you're keeping it for the reprieve, then just take the Void Ring, right? Well, unless you know it's going to be free for you next conflict, which is quite the case actually. Depends on the youth, where is he gonna play the second trigger? On the Goblin or everything on the same Buddha youth? He has the favor and he has 3 censure, so he probably can afford to put everything on the same one. Like, don't think Crab can assassinate that. Crab is thinking now, so that could be another defend Yorna. Oh, that's bad. Server crashed. Yeah, server just crashed, Nushko, so I'm not sure there will be more than just a rough start. Yep, rip then. For the Empire has been released today, and there is that new dragon attachment that you can put on rings, and it seems that might be the cause of some troubles. Told you, Nyoshko, that that attachment would be like way too powerful. It's even breaking Jikoku. Stupid dragon, yeah. I'm obviously joking about the attachment, but that it seems it's the source of some crashes at least. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's karma. I think. Well, I'll wait to see what happens, but it had the outcast. In a previous game, someone tried to manual discard it with a calling in favor, which shouldn't be possible, and it crashed the server. That one might be something else, though. Yeah, it can be targeted, but there is probably something wrong the way it's resolved because it's been implemented today, and that's what happened. Oh yeah, it was a Carada, sorry. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm basically just repeating what I saw in the chat earlier. So I guess this is going to be a remake. Well, if crab doesn't require reading, then Nurshko should definitely play crab. Just give me a second trying to know if. Yeah, I know you heard that. That was on purpose. Yeah, maybe it's the manual functionality outcast. I just know it was related to the attachment. Which game yesterday? I never played anything yesterday. Let me try to see if they're planning to remake that or. Yeah, apparently they're trying to remake. So I'm gonna join again. I'm not gonna cut it, like people watching the record will have the chance to see both parts of the game. Seems it's not the correct player here. Yeah, that's one of the risks you have is that when you play just after the release of a new pack, you obviously have a chance to run into some troubles. But at the same time, if you have only 1 week to play your matches, you sometimes don't have a choice, especially because the two involved countries there have quite a big difference of time. So they're in pretty different time zones. Well, there could be a way to schedule around, like if it's released, for example, in early in the week and you have the whole weekend, and like you're more or less in the same time zone, it's more comfortable. But like difference in time zone here, yeah, yeah, exactly. So like that those time zone make things really complicated to plan. No, I don't think it was a granted win. It was like it didn't look good for Crab, but it's Crab. Like they're exactly good at lasting long, even if they take a beating early. So, oh yeah, yeah, I agree, Denzo. Unless you decide to have a 1 week break at the time the pack is released, but it requires some coordination and also complicates planning. I'm not sure you would need different servers. I'm not very familiar with the architecture that has been used, but I think you could have different nodes on the same server. I don't know too well how it works, but I think it could be possible. But I mean that's a lot of additional work for people that are developing it totally for free and out of passion. Yeah, yeah, that was more or less what I wanted to say, and so I just didn't knew how to. So there we go again. Unicorn goes first again. Player use without fate, and Crab plays Yakamo with 1 fate. He has a second one, so he's gonna be more confident against Goblin Sneak here. Because with 2 fate now, he's a bit more reliant for this. Negi no fate. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to eat Way of the Crab assassination here. Could be very bad. So you prefer not to put fate on Negi, which makes sense. Yeah, I agree. Unicorn start here is much worse than what he had earlier. The thing is, it's as Streetwolf says, it's the problem of the server crash. Like, I agree, crab position was pretty bad, and it's not because I'm French. Like, it's just the position of the crab was bad. But it's crab. It's also known to like sometimes outlast you from a very bad position. Unicorn going in, finding. So going Earth, yeah, that makes sense. Finding. 10% might be a bit negative, but maybe you know that much better. Ah, he finds the same province as earlier, so that's fair. Illustrious Forge again. And we see a watch commander going on. Yeah, I also think it was a bit higher, but without seeing it their hands, it's also a bit difficult to say. But like Unicorn would have lost his whole board at the end of the turn, so and he had only 4 fates, so that might not be. I think if Crab had survived the turn, then he would have been in a good position. So does Crab defend that? If you do Yo, Yakamo is supposed to stand, right? But Unicorn is going to send you home anyway with Nergi. Don't you want him to use the ability anyway so that he can't use it again later? Oh shit, Talisman. Okay, interesting. I guess it's just to avoid it being discarded from Earth. He's not gonna use it here. Yeah, I think when such rematch happen, like the best things you can do is just like wipe over it and move into the next game. Try not to lose focus and concentration. Goes to upholding, so we gonna see an ambusher here if Unicorn has one. Definitely. And if it doesn't, that's sad. It seems he does not. He might be thinking about sending his own youth back home to avoid breaking. That would do. That's yours. Yeah, no, I don't think so, Nyoshko. If he had, oh yeah, there it is. Okay. I felt, he took quite the time to play it. Like maybe he wanted to keep it for later. Yeah, obviously it was breaking already by far, so maybe you don't really want to play it for that. It's gonna get another thing trigger now. Not sure. Because if you defend and then you attack and Unicorn does not defend, you're gonna have equal honor and Yakamo is gonna bow. Where now you can actually attack as Crab, and even if Unicorn loses one honor, your Yakamo is gonna keep standing and you will be able to defend again with it, which means it's gonna be in 3 conflicts instead of 2. That might be the reason why. Except he has a mountain, so if you have a mountain, sorry, you just don't. The reason why he fought he was like mm, not defending is that you have Nergi trigger that sends you back home, but I think you still defend, and like if your opponent sends you home, then fine. Well, but yeah, sure, but like, why not defending anyway and have your opponent using its ability, like? Because now, if in any way he succeeds to stand that Nergi, then you're gonna have the ability available. No, it wasn't used. It wasn't used. He just didn't defend it. That's no, I don't think he was, unless I totally missed that. But okay, yeah, he was. Apologies. I'm gonna try to focus a bit more on what happens and a bit less on the chat. Not sure why you pass as crab here. Oh yeah, because if Unicorn decides to spend a card, well, Watch Commander is optional, so you could have attacked as crab, right? Yacht into Shiodome, that's good. Yeah, that's a really good yacht. Not sure why you don't attack as crab though. Because you had less honor, so you could attack military. And he would not bow. Or maybe he was afraid of the display of power, but like, you just take a not too worrying ring. But you can always take air and decide not to resolve it. And no, it's a 3 century unicorn, not a 3 century crab. But yeah, I see your point. But you do only if unicorn does not steal more rings, right? So ready is near Gu's encampment. And jokingly does not go. Okay, interesting. I guess he didn't want it to give Crab another. But then why don't you ready the ambusher? Like, just ready the ambusher. You have a glory, and you take the favor. I think that's a mistake. So see mere mystic for unicorn. He's probably going to play Tetsuko too. Crab is playing a witch hunter. Guess that's good, and he has an envoy to sacrifice for that. Crab position here is like much better than in the previous game. Okay, Unicorn decides not to play Tetsuko. That's interesting. I guess he just wants her not to get away with the crabs. That makes sense. Charging her maybe would be better. Because then if crab way off, then you lost only a fate on a card rather than a bunch of fate. Yep, that flip wasn't good, I agreed. But the previous one was sick. So, well, I mean, the yacht into the Shiotomi. I feel it was a mistake not to stand the ambusher rather than Nergi. At least he would have had the favor. So, guess as crab you go just with the envoy here? Or you can also put the Witch Hunter in if you want. You can also go with Yakamo, like he's gonna stun anyway. Yeah, just go in with Yakamo, I guess. He's going just with the envoy. Yeah, there is a Polding authority, so maybe he wants to avoid that. Which makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking about that, Katasha Ninja, but I was like, okay, let's not do the joke. I was gonna say if there is another server crash, at least we will have had a best of three, which never happens in L5R. Guess you're not unhappy about hitting that as crab here, given your board. You kind of do not care about political conflicts, and even your next conflict is going to be military, which is good. Oh no, sorry, it's border fortress. It's not cannon order. So yeah, that you kind of do not care about that. Could be used to flip rally if Unicorn plays it, but I don't think. Yeah, it does. So you could flip it to political. Charge on the witch hand too. Okay. Then he can flip it to political, but it doesn't matter anymore. Does crab have keeper? It doesn't, right? No, it does not. And unicorn neither. No. So that's really just for bowing the Maya Mystic, which does not sound awesome. But also it's pretty much display of power useless. So like unicorn does not really want to display that, right? I think as unicorn here you might want to flip your own rally so that it doesn't break. Okay, he decides to flip an opponent's province instead. That might be better. Except that if you prevent the rally to break, then you can use the game. I mean your border fortress. If you use the rally to prevent the fortress to break, you might use the fortress second time. Yeah, I should log in another account just to monitor the lobby to see if it's crashed or not. No. Shockingly passes, breaks. Gonna discard Tetsuko. Obviously you don't want that to get charged. Um, well, you don't want it to be cavalry reserved either, right? But at least it costs more for the unicorn player than the charge. Has a pretty nice reserve. Double 3-cost character, both annoying. I can also do it with a 3-coster and 2 1-costers. So no conflict, no second conflict for unicorn. Well, no first conflict, sorry, for unicorn. I guess at crab you just smash into another province. Shidame sounds good to break here. Like you stun your witch hunter, you go with both of them, I would say. No, I don't think either. Just said that he has good targets for the cavalry reserve. I don't think it's sufficient. Crab would have to hugely overcommit here for the cavalry reserve to matter. Okay. Crab does not use the Witch Hunter. So it goes with the second one. That's interesting. You could have used the Bowed Witch Hunter to sack the Envoy and stand her so that you go with 4 political strength. Well, okay, can all do make sense. But then Unicorn can always decide not to trigger it. That would have been a break, would have been much better. Maybe he wants it to defend because he's afraid of Unicorn, like playing conflict characters and using a cavalry reserve, for example. But like, I think it's better to break the encampment. Okay, Jogging did use the Kanoju. I'm not sure about that, honestly. Because he gets nothing from that, right? He had both conflict types left anyway. That really looks like a sabotage. Shooting himself in the feet. It's weird from himself. Unless he wants to try to defend that conflict. And he needs it to be military to be able to do so. That could be the thing. But actually, if he defends that and get the ring, then he can stand something with the Shiotome. So that might be the reason why he changed the conflict type. I would see that happening. I'm not sure it wins the conflict, honestly. It helps a lot, but Crab has clouds and has shrieks. So if you have reserve and he has a cloud, well, you would need 2 of those, I agree, because of the Maya Mystic. You could have an assassination though. But then you would win because the timing does not allow him to have enough actions. Okay, yeah, you would need 2 clouds, which is unlikely. So I think he has exactly 2 in the deck. Let me check, but I think he has only 2. Yeah, he has only 2. So talismaning to upholding. Okay, interesting. So use cannot do so that it breaks, and then afterwards use the talisman to go to upholding. Because if it were political, it wouldn't be breaking here. Can you do anything about that as Crab? I don't think so. Apart from playing the cards you don't want to get discarded, I think you can't do anything about it. Yeah, exactly. The talisman would make it break. Agreed. Totally forgot about the bonus. Yeah, there was a display. So it's going to stand the Maya Mystic. And No, he can't because the that which is clouded, he can't sack her, and I think it wouldn't be worth it. Assassination Banzai, double different urinal fight and skirmisher on its fan, double spyglass talisman and watch commander. That's quite a hand. Guess you go on the double different urinal. I chose the two spyglasses. That's also a really good choice. Yeah, the double spyglass is actually better. It's weird that Crab didn't decide to play one of the two spyglasses, because then it kind of forces your opponent to discard only one of them. I kind of agree with it. I would have chosen the different urinal also, but like I'm not as good as Joe Quigley is as a unicorn player, so I'm trusting him on that. I'm probably just not as good as a player as he is, period. So, but I would definitely have picked different urinal myself. So Maya Mystic discarding Watch Commander. Okay. And he doesn't know the Akamo is to display. But sure, it makes a huge difference. Um, can you do anything as unicorn here? Like, sounds bad, right? That Witch Hunter is now standing, and if I don't really see unicorn even winning a conflict here. But if you pass, then it just becomes worse, right? Next turn, the situation is just going to worsen. It's never going to improve for you anymore. Especially that display of four didn't make a significant difference, apart from losing you a card and to fate. Uh, that's the second reprieve, right? No, it's the first one. It's the first reprieve. That Witch Enter might stay in play quite a lot. And the fact that the other one is clouded, but that one can stand stuff is pretty obnoxious here for the unicorn player. Um, Not sure. Yeah, it's been the no. Wait, was it? Yeah, it was. I think so. You're right. I'm sorry, I'm totally not following what's happening. Yeah, that was the envoy draw. That's quite a lucky one. I guess you play Shuichi here. Borderland Defender also makes sense because you can't be sent home. So you can defend against Nergi. We first see a Vanguard Warrior, which is totally logical because not that much are gonna get a Fate. Or Yakamo, for what it's. Or the other Witch Hunter because there is a Void Ring with two Fates, so it's likely that Unicorn is gonna take it or display it. But like the display of power, if it had kept, it would have made much more sense this turn, for example. Yeah. I think wishing for the game to crash is a bit sad. Like I understand Unicorn is legitimate to be pretty sad about the situation here. But like it's never fun when it crashes. Whichever end of it you're on. Like I mean if you're an honest player and you play it for the entertainment rather than like just being happy to win, then if you win after such crash, then you're gonna feel guilty and disappointed anyway. Yeah, that's put fairly. Yeah, Unicorn going for the Void Ring, trying to void that Witch Hunter, I guess. But I think Crab defend that, right? I think you can defend that. You just put your Ida Guardian in the Witch Hunter in the conflict, you use the Ida Guardian on a Witch Hunter, and then if Neg is used, then the Ida Guardian goes back home. I think he doesn't matter too much. Oof, we see a huge defense from Crab here. Like everyone defending. Uh, why? I understand you don't want Unicorn to get the ring because he has a short encampment, but like, I guess as Unicorn you're just happy to pass, then play a conflict character, go political, play captive audience, and Crab has nothing left to defend with. Because Yakamo is, oh, well, he might have Mountain, does not full on fight him, obviously. Uh, yeah, if you have Assassinate, it's fine. You can also have Mountains and Fight-ons. Yeah, agreed. Unicorn should have cavalry reserves, but like that might not even be enough. Okay, that Bonsai tells different owner, and we know he has two in hand, so but I'm not sure that's necessary. I think that's a wasted card. Unless he wants to redirect that to Shameful, for example, but like I think yeah, might. I mean, as a unicorn player here, like you don't even need the Bonsai before passing, right? You just pass. Exactly, thank you. Missed that. Yakamo stays up, so now he's gonna go water with Yakamo, I guess. Mm. That would turn him off though, so that might not be the correct choice. You might want to stand something with your witch. But like, what do you sacrifice? Because if you sacrifice the Dark Guardian, it's not being used. If you sacrifice the Vanguard Warrior, then you don't have his ability. So you, well, obviously you say unless you have a conflict character, Skirmisher would be good. Yeah, yeah, agreed. Was for to lower its honor. I just missed it. Just didn't thought about that. Spending a card on one honor to have Yakamo not boring is definitely a fair one. Makes I mean it's totally the value on that is fine. Uh, The thing is, if witch enters, oh yeah, 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 sure. He sacks the guardian to stand the witch enter. I would just feel bad about sacking the guardian because I didn't use it, which is wrong. I agree. It's just like psychological. He's passing again. He's going to sacrifice the Vanguard Warrior to. I think you do it now to avoid him getting clouded, just in case Unicorn has a cloud. Yep, there it is. That's more or less a captive audience incoming, right? So I guess as Crab you defend with one character, you just defend your no the captive audience if it comes. Like if you don't and there is a captive audience, that's bad. I mean you have to defend that, right? For which reason wouldn't you? If you let that break, Unicorn has another conflict, has a military ring to stand. Like there's no way you don't defend that. Because if Unicorn has the captive, well, now the captive is going to turn Yakamo off, which is a bit annoying, but I think as Unicorn here, you play the captive no matter what, at least so that Yakamo is off and you force Crab into wasting one of the two defend, you know? Court games, okay. So that's 5 military against 1. So I guess the court games is just to grant the defend you know, not to leak any honor. I could actually bid a bit higher just to ensure that Yakamo stays on. Yeah, there we see the captive. Yeah, it's a tricky question. Unicorn might want to bid one more just to, yeah, exactly that. Take my honor, please. I want to be a miserable scum so that your character does not stun. Yeah, there we see the defend your honor. That makes sense. Crab going on to Manicured with the Talisman, trying to get a bit more fate. And I guess after that you go Earth. If Unicorn does not trigger the Stronghold and get another conflict. And if Unicorn does, then you go Water. And you try to break the Can Order. I will see another Captive Audience and another Defend Owner. So if Unicorn has the third Captive Audience and Crab does not have another Defend Owner, that's bad. Okay, Yakamo is on forever now. Well, not forever, but for a very long time. Yeah, asking if he has a third one. No third one. So just pass. And I think then you go Earth with the Witch Hunter. Well, actually, you have to be careful because Unicorn could win Earth in defense military and then sack. Yeah, that might not be good actually to do it. Could go political Earth, but like you're not going to break that unless you have a conflict character. Yeah, I don't think Joking is going to try to go for the 25 here. Has display of power though, so that might happen. Still don't think it's a good strategy. But I'm not sure there is many other strategies that would work here. As Crab here, if you have Phyton, then you just smash in, like you don't care. You can go political if you're afraid of the display, which is what we see happening here. You might have a non-hit fan or a spyglass just to get the break. Spyglasses, two of them have been discarded, so if you had the third, that's the last. Might have a watch commander also. We've seen one of the watch commander and there's been a mountain discarded. Yeah, Crab has better. No, Unicorn has played even less cards actually. Yeah, there is the low non-hit fan of the deck. So now it breaks. Yeah, Unicorn is in a really bad spot here. Talisman from Unicorn. Going on to what is that one? Appealing, yeah. It's gonna put Shono into play. But yeah, that's fire. Okay. Crab change for the firing. Not sure it's a good idea, but even if it displays that, it's a political ring, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I would need the DOP for the favor. Captive Audience here actually would have been better. Yeah, there is a display of power, so it's gonna take the favor. Do you play skirmisher here as crab if you have one? Just to annoy. That wouldn't be enough, sorry. You would need one more. Oh yeah, it would be enough. If you have a skirmisher, you might consider playing it here. Yep, there is. So favor does not move. But we see Unicorn doing the same with an ambusher. Okay, interesting one. Uh, no way of the crab, honestly. Like, it doesn't matter. It was for the favor, not for the way of the crab. Like, there is no board. Like, you would clear a wayfinder. Doesn't matter. So Unicorn is gonna go into the next turn with 14 Fate. Crab a tiny bit less, but still a significant amount. Like with 11 Fates, you can probably play a lot of stuff. Yeah, the additional fate on it was to have a good target for which enter next turn, no matter what he flipped. Crisis Breaker to fate. Okay, makes sense. I wonder if we're gonna see this Yazuki going out. Unicorn players might play Dayu now because it's a Banzai. He has fate. He can play a lot of stuff, and it's Rally under the Stronghold. But I don't know how you defend against the crab board here. So we see Young Warrior, no fate. I think we're not gonna see the Trailblazer, but we might see Dayu. So yeah, there comes the Shudy Azuki one fate. Crab is gonna have a lot of characters. Oh no, sorry, there is an Iron Mine. Crab is gonna have a lot of character living, I'm gonna say, and then I forgot it was Crab. He does not play Rebuild though, but like, don't think it's gonna change much things. Karada here is fine if Unicorn has to throw a lot of cards. I'm not sure why Unicorn is not paying stuff with Fate, for honestly. Like, Dayu would have been good. He might be afraid to have it like Way of the Crab at the end of the turn, but might need it to survive. Or he's just planning to charge it, which also makes sense. Like you just charge Dayu and you have +4. It's a 7 strength military for one fate and a card. That sounds good. It's actually better because covered. No, he doesn't have covered. Sorry, it was previous turn. Um, and no Unicorn has free cancel on. Crab is going to try a political break here, I think. Because its rally would make sense. It's going to force Unicorn to change it to a military conflict. But then Unicorn can defend, charge something or cavalry reserve, get the ring, stand something. If you charge Dayu in defense, you can get the ring, and then afterwards you have the military banzai on him. You'll need to invest some resource into defending though as Unicorn here. There's the rally. I think it's gonna flip military. We're gonna see it flipping. No flipping. Okay, interesting. Maybe he knows he can defend that. He's not playing speak to head though, right? No. I has a talisman. No, he plays in the Sloan talisman. He doesn't have one anymore. Um, you have to be sure to be able. Oh no, he hasn't played this. Yeah, he has. He's still in play. Sorry, it's there. So you can use his talisman to send the crab player to Canordu. Assassination on the Shrewd. Makes sense. That's a good one. Don't think the crab player can do much about that. You just. Oh yeah, you have the arrow on man if you want. But like, isn't the purpose of the assassination for you to discard the mine so that at the end of the turn you can save as many characters as you want? Uses the mine, okay. Searching for card. As crab here, you need to push the break because if you don't, talisman won't get used. And if talisman does not, then you're in a pretty bad spot next turn. You have one spyglass, two watch commander. What else? I think that's pretty much everything you've left, right? You played the two court games already. No, only one of the two, sorry. Yeah, there was your watch commander. He still needs a +1 to break here. Could be a court game. Could be a spyglass. Could be a wayfinder. Yeah, we see the second court games. It's gonna go under Yasuki. That's gonna get censured. Very likely. If Unicorn has a censure, I think you play one here. Because then if crab does not break, then you have the talisman for the next conflict. So you can probably survive the turn. Yeah, there it is. And if you survive the turn, then you're in a better position than you have ever been in this game. So now crab need to find another +1, which yep, there is a wayfinder. Okay, that's good. No, there is the break, so we're gonna see talisman. Unless Unicorn has something to put in defense in political. He has two more wayfinders. Uh, does not have a quote game though. Yeah, it would need to be one of the two wayfinders. No, moves the conflict, so Canard is gonna break. Uh, so no more Shutame on this province. For Crab, that's going to be good. But Unicorn has a huge amount of fate. Like he will need to be able to defend the last conflict on his stronghold, which is going to be pretty difficult. But like with so many fate, he probably has charge and cavalry reserve, so that's quite a lot of resources you can invest into a defense. You could put Shono on 2-1 cost, or you could put a Nergi and a Tetsuko, who charge Dayu and have the Banzai. And that's a lot of military strength potentially. Not sure what Shokuno is thinking about. Might be considering playing the third captive audience. But then I don't see why you play the talisman. Like you just captive audience, yeah, on the other province. And, I mean, on the stronghold province and you talisman afterwards. Or discard the charge at random. That's bad. If that's his lone charge, it's going to be sad. Yeah, I agree. That has been a long game. Unicorn has been managing his fate and cards, like his overall resources, really, really well. Yeah, that water ring is going to force Crab to defend, right? So Unicorn still has two councils. Might have he has two charges in the deck left. 3 cavalry reserve, 1 captive audience. So there's potentially a lot of things that can happen here. Crab has 1 defend your honor. Defending with Yakamo is gonna get bowed anyway, unless Crab plays another Banzai, which might be the plan. But then you have to win the water ring, because if you play Banzai for him not to stand, not to bow, sorry. Yeah, there was your cavalry reserve. So now as Crab it feels double bad to defend that if you lose the water ring, because you're gonna get another of your characters bowed. Fine Katana on Yakamo. But he's gonna get sent home, right? Disagree with that Fine Katana play here. I think you should keep it to try to break the stronghold. Because yeah, I know you're back home and that Yakamo is gonna get bowed, which means the Katana is basically a waste. Well, you can send him with the Witch Hunter, so I guess that's fine. But you could also stand your other Witch Hunter and put the Katana on the other Witch Hunter. So I just grab you, trigger your talisman here to get the Illustrious Forge broken. Unicorn still has some gas for another cavalry reserve and a charge. Potentially 2 charges, but a really good one at least. Yeah, and the sack of Negi kinda says that he's going to be willing full to reserve another one so that the ability can be triggered again. I think as Crab, if you don't break here, situation isn't too good, right? And I'm not sure you break that. You have to all in anyway. You have to try to get that break. You have to force Unicorn to expend as many resources as possible in defense, because if you don't, they're just gonna bite you back. Like Unicorn still has to conflict, so potentially you could be winning the game that turn with the third captive audience. So what I see coming here is another cavalry reserve for Nergi. Nergi is sending back home the Yakamo again, and potentially a charge on Dayu, who would then trigger his Banzai ability if needed. That would be potentially 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 skill for Unicorn, and Crab's at 14 now. Crab would lose 5 skill, 6, so he would be at 8 against 14. He would need a pretty significant boost. So I think you have to wait for the Unicorn player to choose something to send back home. And after that, you can pile up attachments if you have some. He probably has a Tetsubo left. What did he play for one? Nothing. He has only 2 fate. Okay. Oh yeah, a cloud on Nergi. Sorry. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a very good one for Crab. And that's only the first of the 2 cards, so he might have another one. See Banzai for the Unicorn player. I think if Unicorn has another charge here, you don't break at Crab. You could also have the third cavalry reserve. In which case you also don't break as Crab. Another fine katana, yeah, that would do. If no charge and no katana for the Unicorn player, then I'm afraid that might be the game. But I don't believe he doesn't have one of these. He still has 10 cards. Curved blade, so that's a +1. Yeah, it's enough to avoid the break actually. That would force the Crab player to use Karada for very bad effect, so I don't think. I think you want to play something else as Crab if you can. You don't want to take the curved blade out. Assassination to get rid of a motor youth. Okay, that makes sense. We see no console for the Unicorn player here. So he might not have a console left. Which means he has to have something in those 9 cards. I'm tempted to have a look at the deck, but I might miss something happening. That was only the first curve bite, but now the next ones do not really matter. I think your best art is just like charging Dayu and giving him +4. Charging the Trailblazer. Okay, so to me, that's a tell that he has the third charge. Because if you don't have the third charge, then you charge Dayu instead, right? To be sure to save your stronghold. So you might have a conflict character in hand and a charge. So we see the Jade Tetsubo on the Crisis Breaker. That's tough. It's gonna force the last charge, right? But no, Crab doesn't have any fate left. So no reprieve. The last reprieve wouldn't be played. So if Unicorn can withstand this conflict, it's going to be in a good position, I think. Yeah, surviving this is just like absolutely huge. We see a fine Katana going down. Yeah, because Karada is now offline. And if there is a fine Katana, that probably means he has something else not to lose that conflict. Well, not to take the break here. Oh, sorry, that doesn't break. That's not enough. Yeah. So not breaking, and now we're going to see a conflict character for the Unicorn player going military, charging Dayu, and probably getting a break. I need to do a 2-minute break. I will be right back. Back, sorry. So what happened? Not much, actually, right? Yeah, he played an ambusher, ghost went air. Okay. And crab, but literally nothing to clue the conflict. Okay, interesting. They're gonna have to be very careful about their clock here, because it's ticking down. So there we see the last military conflict. Crab still has the ability to stand his crisis breaker, and there is 2 fight on left. So I think Unicorn is not gonna get that one. Well, there's a charge on Dayu possibly though, which could be huge. I think you just. Hmm. I think you can't really do something else than passing here as Unicorn. Like, even though you withstand it, yeah, there is no fight for fight, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can totally stand Yakamo with the Crisis Breakers, just that his ability is available. Yeah, we see Daiyu charged and boosted. So Unicorn with the Conflict. Ooh, and might try to get that break, actually. We see a fine cannon going down. Are we going to see a curved blade? Yeah, there it is. That's going to leave Unicorn player with very, very few cards on next turn. But he's going to be on the Stronghold, and he's going to be first player. He will have no board though. He has a cavalry reserve and charge. No charge and one cavalry reserve left. That's a tough one, right? Crab has charge left. Crab didn't play a single of his 3 charges. That could be very bad for the Unicorn player. Yeah, board's going away, but like Crab board is still much more scary than the Unicorn one. Unicorn flip being much better than the Crab one though. Much, much better. If he has a charge, I think that's game. You just basically play the, I would say, Kaze regulars if you have a charge, and then you charge Jagged. You can also play the Trailblazer actually, because the Stronghold is face down, so that would be a nice boost. Yeah, we see another Crisis Break going down, and we're very likely going to see the Guardian going down too. He played 3 charge, and yeah, Unicorn played the 3 charge and 2 Cavalry Reserves, but Crab has none played, because Crab is on charge. I still see that complicated to break for the Unicorn player, right? Unless he has charge. Oh, that's the last fate. That's bad. As Crab, you could have not put a fate on the Guardian and keep it, because like you have a mine that is going to get discarded at the end of the turn. So I think that was a mistake. You sure of that? I think he has 1 left. Oh yeah, he has only 2 in the deck, sorry. Yeah, so he's out of Defend Unor. Yeah, that sounds good. Basically, you're gonna swap the Ambusher for 2 skill change with the River of Gold. Disagree about using the Stronghold first. Should have used River of Gold first. Okay, Chokingly passes. I guess a scrub you just pass here. But then Unicorn knows you can't do anything, because you have no fate. So Unicorn gonna go again with the Border Rider and try to get that win military. And from that he could have a last conflict. So potentially winning on the last. Oh, that's the captive audience incoming here. Void here is a bad choice because there's an Iron Mine in play. Yeah, Crisis. If you captive audience, Crisis Breaker can defend. Totally agree about that. But if you want, yeah, you might want to try to win that political. Could do the trick. No, we see a Cloud 9, and we're gonna see the captive audience here. So only one Crisis Breaker can defend. Whoa, no. Okay, so why? Oh, okay. He plays the Cloud for the next conflict. Wait, there's no next conflict. Why did he play that Cloud here? That doesn't make much sense. I can understand that because they have very, very small time to think, they start to do a bit more mistake. Crab board here still looks pretty scary. Oh, and there is the Kisada if he has a charge. That's and another Crisis Breaker. That's disgusting. Okay, we see Kisada being played. That kinda says he didn't saw a single of the free charge. Because Unicorn doesn't have the favor anymore, so he can't send you a potential charge here. Or we just intend to charge to a Crisis Breaker. Unicorn potentially has a dead display of power in hand. C'est le dernier? Merde. Vas-y. Yeah, that's rough. Like, can you save your stronghold here? You have a cavalry reserve potentially. That might do it. Cloud doesn't have a Shuriken Jazz, so he can't play his second Cloud. Yeah, you need some action to burn Kisada, agreed. And we see a Watch Commander going down, so that's going to limit the amount of thing you can do. We see another Wayfinder, so that's all Fate down. Yeah, that looked a lot like, yeah, a desperate action. That has been a very, very close game. Like, Unicorn was really impressive on that one. I don't think many people would have seen the game dragging so long from the way it started the second time. Yeah, Dan, I can understand what you said. Well, I'm gonna leave you there. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice evening. See ya.